Alright. What is up, YouTube? It is I, HPJ here. Hope you guys are doing well. I am fresh, I'm showered, refreshed, and hopefully rejuvenated as I get to talk to you guys about my favorite archetype, the Harpie. Now, I know many of you are expecting me to probably ramble for a good 15 to 20 minutes, but, I want to ramble, but I didn't kind of make sense of what I'm going to say. See, we have been in a very large deficit of Harpie support in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and OCG. More so for the modern card game. We really have not seen any new support since the release of Harpies, Red Dragon, First Fire Blast, and that was literally, 2023? And we're literally in 2026. Within that time frame, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel has not only popped off, but it's also have given the Harpies a major wave of support in regards to a deck building set, several core sets having support, and even more so, the most recent structure deck that they received back in 2025 for Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, alongside Cyber Dragon. So it makes you bit to wonder, how would a TCG ever get new support? Well, I have a couple ideas for that. Major one, Harpies can get support for the TCG OCG literally by having it come in the form of two of the most current things that are going on right now, TCG OCG. Actually, let me lower this music because it is loud. And that is, the first one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary decks. That's right, the legendary decks which are doing extremely well for the TCG after having two big releases. The 5D releases in 2025, and then we're having the modern decks that just recently came out back in March. We now have the announcement that in August we're going to be getting Lunalite, Speedroid, and what is it? Oh, Odd Eyes, focusing on the decks for the Yu-Gi-Oh! RPG series. Now, I'm no hocus pocus believer of things, but if the legendary decks are doing extremely well, will be the next wave of legendary decks that people would like to see. We still have GX, 5Ds. Well, we've already did 5Ds, but we have GX, we have Duel Monsters, we have Reigns, we even have the manga to look into as well. And we have multiple characters we can look at. The villains, the heroes, the side characters, there's so many different things. So, I'm looking at this, but then I'm also looking at the core sets. Because the most recent core set that's going to be coming out in TCG after it's just released in OCG is the Chaos Infinity, which is Cody for short. And that's coming to TCG in the summer. Well, late summer, early fall. So it's made me think, well, if we're going to get this, and the next set after that is as Bond of the Brave, well, why not do a set for Mai? Make her the main setup for it. And introduce cards to support Harpie Lady Sisters. Especially after when the Legendary Duelist Pack Sister Rose cards tried to support Harpie Lady Sisters, but without a retrain or a main focus to sit on, it kind of just feels like, yeah, if you're going to do retrains and stuff, well, you're doing it right now. Let's see you do it again. And this time give Harpie Lady Sisters the additional cards that we need. We would love to see Harpie Lady Sisters get that same treatment. Make new Harpie cards supported around Harpie Ladies and the Harpie Lady Sisters, and then focus on their strategy and mechanics. Destroying back row, swarming the field, and benefiting from when they destroy the spells and trap cards, because there's a lot of spell and trap card benefits from the Harpies, with cards like Hysteric Sign and the Alluring Mirror Split. Well, why don't do that with 3 newer cards? In addition to that, why don't you also finally print some of the older cards that have not been printed for the Harpies? We have, of course, Rose Whip, the ancient card that it is, but at least be a Harpie card that can be printed for TCG and OCG. Then we have Arrow Nail, the other Eclipse spell that the Harpies use besides Cyber Shield and Rose Whip. For what Arrow Nail is, it's a Eclipse spell for Harpie Lady that will increase the attack, I believe, by additional 300 points. And if it's destroyed or the monster it's equipped to is destroyed, you can equip it to another Harpie lady that's on your side of the field. So the card never goes away, and you'll have a 300 buff to your new Harpie monster. In addition to that, we did get Harpie Lady Sparrow formation, the trap card my use in the Dumbo arc, along with Harpie Lady Phoenix formation, Harpie's Featherstorm, and Arrow Nail, which would be really good in some cases if you want a fun character deck. But they'd have to twerk it around a bit to really be something useful outside of just being a in the battle phase type of trap card. The other thing is that Nightmare Trimere, another card might use in the anime, but here's the thing, she used it, but that was it, and it was only to create tokens, which in a case, because of how a lot of the current mechanics are, tokens wouldn't be bad, it would just be highly abused. And then if you don't restrict it to it being Harpies, then the cards is going to be overly inverted. So you kind of really have to think about that too. So it does beg the question, well, you can use the Battle of Legends sets or, some side sets to reprint those cards, and in core set, bam, here we go. Harpies. Our Harpie Lady Sisters, and focus on them. Because we see that now Dark Magician, Yugi's getting cards to support his Magician of Black Chaos. Joey's getting cards to fit around his Time Wizard, and more of the cards he's used within the anime, like his Alligator Sword, Panther Warrior, his Scapegoats, Jinzo, Legendary Fisherman, and Red Eyes, all being circulating around a card called Dark Time Wizard, or Dark Time Magic, whichever one they're going to use. I think the card is called Dark Time Wizard, but still, it's a quick play spell, and all these cards are circulating around it. So, possibly do it with Harpie. Create cards that are surrounded by an upgraded version of Elegant Egotists, or Harpie Lady Sisters, and really get the focus going. Then, maybe even so, a legendary modern deck for the DM era, and then just print cards for the Harpie Ladies, and introduce Mai. You'll reprint a good majority of Harpie cards that most likely need a reprint, hollow out some of the cards for the extra deck, and then, just slap a good on a couple of staples that the Harpies should take advantage of. Like Swallow's Kaore, Swallow's Nest. You can fit in Summon Storm, Winged Requital. You can finally give those some reprints. Take advantage of some of the other take advantage of some of those winged beast monsters that we have. Or finally print some of those winged monsters we haven't had seen in ages. So there's a lot of things that could easily happen, and I think could easily work out with all of these newer ways of releases that Konami is focusing on. Create a core set that can feature the Harpies on it, which you'll have to work into TCG because, censorship. Or you can even more so focus on the legendary sets and then focus on that. You just have many options. It's just sad though because a lot of people complain that Rush Duel is taking all the new Harpie support. But I kind of feel like this. Rush Duel isn't taking what was never going to be really given to us. And even if they did give it to us, they'd have to do major rework to keep those things going. So it does beg the question if it could possibly work, but it also begs the question of how much of Konami is willing to put the effort into it. Because if you want me to be very honest with you, something I want to talk about in this video too, is that Harpies have not been meta in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, OCG for a good period of time. And I'm not saying that if the new support comes it would make it, but after the whole Featherstorm situation, I think a lot of players are just like, look, we want the new support to just make it cohesive. We don't care if it's, not a competitive deck. We just want our decks to be cohesive. If the competitive players finally want to admit that, yeah, oh shit, we can make really good combos with Harpies, then go for it. But we also want to prepare for any cards getting hit on that Forbidden Limited list the minute things get out of hand. Just like, the whole situation with Harpie's Featherstorm. We kind of don't want one of those situations. And when you look at a lot of the Winged Beast support, a lot of it is banned for all the other reasons that the card game itself tried to stop. So more being able to summon monsters from the deck that can easily lock out your opponent or bring negation to the field, i.e. in the forms of berries such as Stormwind or Mist Valley Apex Avian. Which, Avian is still around, but there's no Samorg, and berries actually got banned right not too long after, so the combos and stuff really were just relegated to can you put this one monster on the board, and how fast can you use it. So, yeah, it is definitely one of those things where I think Konami itself is like, hey, we kind of want to reprint some things, but we also have to be careful of the other things that are around as well. So, it's sad to say it, but it's kind of true. And when you look at Rush Duel, I mean, look at the wave of stuff Harpie's got there. Got one structure deck, one triple deck building set, and about 3 to 4 major core sets in this series printing out in support. Not to mention, the anniversary pack gave them their first officially banned monster in the TCG, OCG, and Rush Duel with the form of Harpie Lady 1, 2, and 3. So just imagine that. That it's potentially scary when you give Harpies the right stuff. And in Rush Duel, they definitely did give them the right stuff. Now, currently, I don't know too much information about any of the Harpie decks that are doing extremely well or not. I have to look into it. But from what I can give you from my own honest and true and honest opinion, is that I'd love to see Harpies do well again and really just take advantage of everything. Because it'd be really nice to see that. So, yeah. That's pretty much what I wanted to leave it to. I know there's going to be people in the comment section with questions and stuff, and please feel free to, but just keep it peaceful when you're down there. That's all I ask. Alright, you guys, I will be editing this video shortly, but take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next time. It's Jay, signing out. Take care.